So we're almost there. It is almost preseason football time. I think we're 3 days out as of recording from the Hall of Fame game. And for the Jacksonville Jaguars, right now, the big question that everyone is wondering about is, how is the team going to utilize Travis Hunter? Now, let's first kick this off by setting expectations going into preseason, because I think that's important to realize that the reality of the situation is we don't know how the Jaguars are going to use Travis Hunter exactly. We know things like how many snaps he's seeing in training camp. For those of you who are curious, this is from ESPN's numbers. 7-on-7 drills, 18 snaps total, 11 offense, 7 defense, 11 on 11, 65 snaps total, 25 on offense, 40 on defense. And that is through, I believe, the first 4 days of Jaguars camp. So we know the snap totals in training camp. We're probably not going to actually know really what the picture is supposed to look like for the Jaguars until week 1, week 2, week 3 of the regular season. Because the thing the Jaguars don't want to do is completely tip their hand, especially if there's a feeling in the building amongst the coaching staff that Travis Hunter is going to be a game changer early on and immediately, because nobody knows how the Jaguars are going to use him, because this hasn't been done in so long in the NFL, having a two-way player that will probably play prominent roles on both sides of the ball, of course, if he can stay healthy. So the Jaguars, I would expect to stay somewhat cloak and dagger with that, and because of that, I also wouldn't expect to see a whole lot in preseason, or at least I wouldn't expect to draw many conclusions from what we might see in the preseason games. And for that matter, I don't know how much the Jaguars are going to want to roll Travis Hunter into the games of those preseason games, because those are less controllable circumstances. The nice thing with camp practices is that you get to control who's getting hit, who's doing the hitting. You can control all those variables. When you get into a real game, you can't control that. Now, by contrast, of course, him being a rookie, you do want to see how he stacks up against NFL talent on the field. So I would hope that they would trot him out at least some, but I wouldn't necessarily expect the preseason usage of Travis Hunter to look exactly like what we are bound to see in the regular season. Now, notably, ESPN has depth charts for the teams. Right now, the Jaguars' official website doesn't even have an official depth chart, but this is the ESPN best guess at the depth chart, or at least to the best of their information. This is what it looks like right now. Of course, this is going to shift a ton as we move throughout the preseason, as players get cut, shifted, moved around, as they rise and fall in the depth chart. But right now, ESPN likes to have Travis Hunter as kind of wide receiver number 2. On defense, he is cornerback number 2, and they currently have him on the left side, but of course, cornerbacks and DBs, you're going to rotate them as needed. But right now, ESPN's best guess is, we're going to see him on offense a lot, and then he's going to be a role player on defense, where you may see him more in like nickel and dime scenarios, but not necessarily every down on defense. And again, we don't really know. I think a lot of this is going to depend on what side of the ball is Travis Hunter seeing not only success on, but what side of the ball is he impacting more. And one of the considerations I think we need to bear in mind is the Jaguars had a league worst pass defense in 2024. So in my mind, if the passing game is working really well offensively, even without him on the field, but the defense is notably better when he is on the field, especially in those passing down scenarios, it wouldn't shock me if the coaching staff prioritized where he was being most impactful and not so much where he's being the flashiest. Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be the wide receiver number 1. He's going to be kind of that deep threat that the Jaguars have. Travis Hunter is not likely going to see huge rookie numbers on offense. Now, I would hope that he's going to see significant targets, and obviously I hope that he has significant yards, but I would expect him to be probably more impactful on that defense simply as a function of the defense needs more help coming out of last season. So there's a lot of unknowns. All this to say, we don't actually know what this is exactly going to look like. We don't know if he's going to see more offensive snaps, more defensive snaps, if it's going to be like every down on both sides of the ball. A lot of this depends on what we see in the preseason, which is what is going to make the Jaguars preseason games a little bit more watchable than maybe most years, because there's this big question that the coaching staff itself is almost certainly still grappling with and trying to wrestle through and figure out exactly what this is going to look like. So what I would love to hear in those comments down below is, how do you see it? What do you think Travis Hunter's contribution should be on offense and defense as far as the balance goes, what positions he should be playing? I would love to know all those thoughts, because I guarantee there's going to be a wide variety of opinions on how this should go going into preseason. And then, of course, those opinions hopefully will evolve as we get new information throughout the preseason and as we see reports coming out of training camp and all of that. So this is one of those open-ended questions that we should absolutely stay tuned for, because the reality is no one, and I mean no one, I would expect this to include Travis Hunter himself, know exactly what this is going to look like come week 1 of the regular season of 2025. So it's an exciting time to keep an eye on this very unique situation in Jacksonville, and it's going to bring a lot of eyeballs to watching the Jaguars play on offense and defense, at least in those first few regular season weeks, where people are very curious if this pans out well, how this is going to look, what is his stamina going to look like throughout the season, what's load management going to look like throughout the season. These are all those open-ended questions. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm Shane, and I'll see you all in the very next video.